All right, I know several of you have asked about how to get the shifter off in the GMC Acadia. So I figured I'd make a quick video to show you guys. This is the tool that I use. It's just a plastic pry tool used for like removing door panels and plastic rivets and pretty much whatever you need. But it's soft, so it's not, it won't be as harsh, I guess, on the materials that we're going to be prying on. So what you want to do, you'll take this part right here, which is the thinner part, and kind of try to pry it between the leather and the chrome trim piece. And then what you could do to assist with that is just lightly pull up on the leather here while you're doing it. And you just kind of wiggle that tool down in there and just lightly pry. Don't pry hard, it'll tear and it can break the plastic. And what you do is you just keep light pressure pulling up on this plastic, or on this leather piece, and just keep moving down the leather piece while you're pulling up on it. And just kind of wiggle it in there and pull the whole time you're doing it. And eventually it'll pop out. See how it's kind of come up right here? You can kind of see I've kind of worked it up here. Then you got to do it the same on the other side. Sometimes it's kind of a pain to get out, but it should come out after you wiggle it enough. There it goes. There we go. All right, it released. So yeah, it just takes just a little bit of gentle prying, pushing between the leather piece and the chrome piece. Like I said, don't bend it too far because you'll end up breaking the chrome trim or cracking it. And just use a soft tool to do it with. Once it comes up like this, see how I can pull the leather piece up and out of the way. Now you have access to everything underneath. So once you do that, now it's just a matter of pulling the shifter up and off, and it requires a decent amount of force. So don't be afraid of breaking it. You won't break it, but it does require some force. So what I recommend doing is just grab it with both hands like this and then pull straight up. There you go. See how it popped off? And don't worry, like I said, you're not going to damage anything. It's made to snap on like that and stay on there and slide out. So this is what the boot shifter looks like. Sorry, it's a little dirty. But now you can see, like I was telling you in the other video, where that button is, that is what controls the shift to park indication to the computer. So, but you guys are wanting to know how to get to the shifter. So after you get this piece on here, you need to get this leather boot off right here, right? So this plastic trim right here is snapped onto the actual shifter. So there's little I don't know if you can see this, there's little tabs right here, little plastic tabs that you need to pry out in order to pull the rubber boot off. So I'm gonna attempt to show you that now. So you just need to get right in there where it's kind of hard to show you on the video, but you just need to pry that little tab out while you're doing it. Okay, you got one side. All right. So see what I did is I just pried these little tabs outward a little bit with the same tool, and it'll unclip basically, and it pulls off just like this. So you can kind of see how it snaps in right there in these little grooves. So once you pull this off, now you just have the shifter, right? And now this is where you get to basically dig into the little shaft in here that pops out like I was telling you in the other video. So it gets kind of fun whenever you have to pry this, but I'm gonna show you again on how to get this out of here. So this actually pries down. There's like another little pry area in here. You can see there's like a little notch there and a notch there. What you'll do is you'll take that tool, kind of slip it in there if you can, and pull down at the same time. It's kind of hard to do. You just got to try it, because this little plastic trim piece right here will also slip off that way. So basically you just got to apply pressure to it the whole time you're doing it, so it'll come off. And it takes a bit of finagling to get it to come off, but once you pry the piece there out, it'll start to come. There it goes. All right, so see how it popped out after I pried it a little bit? This just pries straight off the end, just like the leather boot did, okay? And now you have the little swivel point exposed here, where the little metal shaft is in here. So again, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the little shaft inside here and the shifter, it's like a little steel shaft. You can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that little shaft wiggles out. And what happens is that with that shaft out like that, it doesn't allow the button to pivot correctly and return back to its correct spot. And it creates a binding on this button here where the button doesn't fully release back out, and that's what gives you your shift to park issue. That's why sometimes you have to like click the button a few times to make it actually shut the car off. But in my opinion, it's just a really bad design right here, because they used plastic to house this little metal rod, and that plastic wears out over time of you know, constantly grabbing that button and shifting it. And when it does is it allows a lot of play on that steel shaft to slide around in there, and when it slides out, one side of this button will get basically disconnected from that shaft, and it kind of binds up in there. So anyways, that's how you get the shifter off. Hopefully this helps. And then, so now that I have it disassembled, I'll put it back together. So again, starting with this little trim piece, you just slide it over the end here, like so. And there's a little notch on the end here. You got to make sure it's sitting up inside the shifter before you snap it back in. So see, I have it slid behind the leather piece, and then you just snap it in, just like that. All right, so now that's back the way it needs to be. Now the next step is getting the leather boot back on here, right? So what we want to do is, if you can see here, there's a notch on this back here, and the notch is where this piece has to slide into. So what we'll do is we'll slide this back through like so. If I can get it in there. All right, and so you just kind of wiggle it in a little bit, and you got to get the leather out of the way. It kind of tries to get in the way. There you go. And once you get it far enough in, it'll snap into place. You can kind of hear it snap. little bit. But you just want to make sure that these tabs are snapped back down again to where this can't come off. And so now the leather boot's back on like normal. And so then the way you want to put it back on the shifter, obviously, is you want to put it facing like it normally is, right? And you just need to be careful when you're snapping it back on there that you don't pry on this and break it, because this is the part that connects the shift button and your well, I think it's just the up and down for manual shifting on your transmission when you put it in low mode, I believe. But anyways, you want to be extra careful here. If you look down here, there's a little slot where this goes into, and this piece needs to slide into that slot. So whenever you're putting this back on, you don't want to be careless and just, you know, slam it down. You want to make sure whenever you slide it down onto the shaft that you kind of wiggle it a little bit to where it lightly slides down in there, where this slides into that slot there, because that is plastic and it will break. So just be extra careful. And then once you have it down in there like that, then you need to push down on it firmly until it snaps. You'll kind of feel it pop like that, and now it's on there good. It won't come off again. And then now it's just a matter of putting the leather boot back in here. So all you really need to do is just that little outer trim piece is just kind of get it back into place, push it down in there, and it'll snap. There it goes. All right, and just make sure it's snapped all the way around, and now everything's back the way it was. So there you have it. How to take the shift knob off a 2000. This is a 2017 GMC Acadia, and hopefully that helps you fix your shift to park issue. Like I said, look at my other video in terms of the little metal rod inside this button that pivots that gets out of whack sometimes and causes this button not to return to its proper state. Anyways, let me know in the comments if that helped, and y'all have a good day.